I'd like to try to focus on that. Mar- Coming into Maryland in 2 weeks, I feel pretty good. I don't necessarily think I'm exactly where I want to be going into it. So I'm kind of making Pennsylvania Savage like my everything on the table race because it gives me enough time coming off of injury and still working on cheese board stuff.
Damn cheese
So
board.
I would like to really that to be like my main Savage of the year, and just kind of using these other races as
Training.
checkpoints, just kind of see where I'm at.
Yeah, and I've said in the past, for people wanting to get into whether it's full blown fitness or just changing their lifestyle a bit, having an event scheduled down the road, whether it's 6 months or 4 months or 8 weeks, to me, it is so important because now you're not working out when you go, whether you sign up for a turkey trot or whatever it may be, even if it's not physical fitness, whether oh, I want to do this open mic night in November. Okay, now when you're writing your comedy bit, you're not working, you're in training. So for me, I always try to put something on the schedule so that I don't feel like I got to go home and work out. No, I got to go home and train because I have something to train for. And so to me, it helps keep you motivated because you don't feel like you're doing this for nothing.
Right.
You have a goal you're working towards. And for me personally, and I think a lot of people are the same way, having something on the calendar to work towards, it makes it easier to stick to that training schedule to get it done because once again, I'm not just working out to work out. I'm training.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. And that kind of just goes back to the consistency thing. If you have, like, at this point in my life, I don't really care about the number on the scale anymore. I'm a big advocate for just like preventative medicine in this country because I don't think that's promoted enough.
No.
And
That
I
was a
think,
huge missed opportunity in COVID to have
yeah,
an true honest dialogue about where we are when it comes to our eating habits and just overall lack of fitness as a
yep.
whole in a society. I mean, just take any trip to any amusement park for one day, and you'll have a true, honest representation of where we are at in this society when it comes to that.
Yeah, and it's, unfortunately the sad truth. And working in an ER, I kind of see the side effects of that, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So I OCR for me, it kind of, I mean, it absolutely just brings me joy just from the community standpoint and whatever. But it really gives me something to keep my focus on and make decisions that are going to benefit me in the sport, but overall translate into life. Um, so, and I think if people kind of figure out what they're training for, it's going to help them keep way better motivated. So for me and you just kind of for us, it's kind of running, but everybody has something that they want to train for, whether it's their kids, whether it's you know whatever.
Getting
Everybody
that
has their
college degree that they put off for 20 years because they had to take care of family, whatever it may be. There's somebody has something, and like
yep,
and like when I was explaining to my daughter when I was trying to get her to run, and she ran a 5K, and she's kind of gotten off of it. But when I would not really force her, but strongly encourage her to go run with me around the neighborhood, I'm like, and it was so funny because she'd be screaming, "I can't do this" while doing it, and I'm like, Sariana, look around. We're the only two out here. You're screaming you can't do this while you're doing it. How many other 14-year-olds out here doing it? None. Okay, then why are you being so hard on yourself? You're
right,
you're physically saying you can't do something while you're doing it. But more importantly, I would tell her running is physical, but most of it's mental.
yeah,
And it makes you mentally stronger. And so when you're out here uncomfortable, this sucks, which I tell people all the time, I don't run because I like to run. Running sucks. I like the
yeah,
feeling I get after I'm done running. That's why I run. But I try to tell her it'll build your mental toughness. And so when you're dealing with other things in your life, whether it's the boyfriend who broke up with you or your friends disappointing you, it makes all that stuff a little more easier to handle because now you're more mentally strong
right,
and you realize that oh, I can handle things more. You know, you see a lot in the military when it comes to boot camp, especially like the special forces. Their whole training is, your mind and your mental fortitude last a lot longer. Will make your body last a lot longer than it would otherwise, and that
absolutely,
every human is far more capable of achieving stuff. I think that's the other problem we face in overall society is people don't want to give themselves credit for what they have the ability to do.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not saying this because I think you're whatever. I'm saying this because you don't realize you have so much more potential, and we all do. So,
Yeah.
before we wrap it up, how can people find you? Get out all your plugs.
So my main thing, I guess, is Instagram. My handle's kind of obnoxious, but it's a heart and headbands.
I was going to ask about the headband thing.
Yeah, so I have a lot of headbands. I have like probably 120 headbands. I don't know. It's just kind of my thing. It keeps the hair out of my eyes. I don't like stuff like I don't feel like I hate when there's like any sort of distraction. So like when I run, I like wear minimal stuff. I don't like having a bunch of stuff on me. I don't like feel like constricted. So the headband just keeps everything back, keeps my eyes clear. So
Mm-hmm.
that way I don't have an excuse of like, oh, the hair got on my eye and I fell off the monkey bars. So I don't know. It's just kind of my thing.
Well, it's funny you say that because when I first started running, I was wearing regular just t-shirt, basketball shorts, and especially here in Florida. You go
Yeah.
out and run 3 miles, you're basically coming back with a shirt that's 4 times longer than it was when you started and weighs 2 pounds more because it's just basically a wet sopping towel. And your
Yep.
basketball shorts are chafing you. And now I'm out there with smallest pair of Russell brand Walmart running shorts I can find, some compression socks, my Saucony's, and my headbands that I got from Sleeves a while back, and a water bottle and my earbuds, and that's it. I don't, because all that stuff, it's restrictive. And when
Mhm.
you're out there trying to, you know, get this done and comfortable as possible, and one of the things I learned studying for OCR, and you probably do this, is they intentionally put the water obstacles before the monkey bar obstacles.
I know. It's like they're evil or something.
I learned from a female OCR that you simply wipe your hands on your hair. You have a towel, use it. You just wipe your
Yeah.
hand. And so if you can't find grass or a nice banner, like, sometimes Spartan has these nice flags you can use, but if a flag or a patch of grass isn't available, if your hair's still dry, you're going to take a shower at the end of the event anyhow. So just wipe it in your hair and dry your hands off the best of your abilities.
Yeah.
It's always funny that you see the elite waves on Savage and Spartan. They're going through water with their hands above their head, like they look dainty, but no, they're trying to keep their hands dry as possible so they can get across.
Sure.
Before we wrap it up, well, two questions. I've had this one the whole time. When people first meet you, and they hear they hear the abbreviation OCR, like what the hell does that stand for? But when people find out what you do, what is their first? Because OCR is really, unless you know somebody like us who just talk about all the goddamn time, most people don't know what it is.
Right.
Oh, you do those mud races? Well,
Yes.
kinda.
Yeah. Yeah. It's literally that.
I had a guy work with radio. I saw him. I quit working there 4 years ago. I saw him say, "You still doing those mud races?" Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm doing, mud races.
Yep.
But what do they think of? Especially, I mean, I'm sure you run into this a lot, especially at work in the emergency room. Granted, the people you work with all the time know, but I'm sure the people come in, find out the first time, like, huh? What's their overall impression? They find out what you're doing.
I think the general like consensus is like that. I think because it's such a unique sport
They
that you
think it's a
just
man
don't.
thing. They probably think isn't that a dude thing?
Well, I don't think I get a lot of that honestly, because it's funny you should say that because one of the girls I work with, her name's Diana, and she is like all Spartan all day long. Like she literally podiums her age group every event she does. She's a beast. Like she puts like
Nice.
I tell her all the time when I grow up I want to be like an eighth as good as her. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so like people knew her like and they know me, so we're actually like the only people that do this, and it just happens to be two females at work, which is ironic.
Sure.
So I don't think I get that kind of stigma per se. I think people actually end up telling me like, "Oh, that's really cool," because
Yeah.
you don't really hear it often.
No.
You know, it's not a common hobby for people to have.
Just a quick reminder for people, if you go back and listen to episode I'm going through here, and the reason I bring this up is it's kind of goes down the road what we're talking about, especially in your medical community. I got to see what episode she was on. Carrie, my better half, episode 7, living with lupus. My better half has lupus and fibromyalgia, which, as you know, being a medical community, not only do you feel exhausted all the time from the lupus, but you feel like somebody's breaking your bones with the fibromyalgia. And when she first got diagnosed, she was tired all the time, as you would expect. But she started going on all these Facebook groups with people living with lupus. And these Facebook groups would basically explain to you all the things you can't do and why it's perfectly acceptable not to do the things that you can no longer do. And it really set her down this path. And the reason I bring this up is you're talking about your friend at work who does this Spartan races. She's a fourth grade teacher. And one day she was walking through the parking lot and she saw a teacher, who was like a third grade teacher, who she knew had lupus, got in her car that had Spartan stickers on the back. She's like, wait a minute, hold up. I've been in these groups with all these people living with lupus, and they're talking about how every day you wake up with so many spoons in a bowl, and every movement you make, every activity you do, it uses a spoon, and the spoons do not replenish, so be careful about your physical movement. How are you doing Spartan races? And she basically said, I just do it. And so long story short, despite the fact that I've been running, doing 5Ks, doing 10Ks, me doing these things didn't motivate her because in her mind she can't do this. I have lupus. But wait a minute, here's somebody else with lupus who's doing these sort of things. And so just seeing somebody that she can relate to has the same thing that she has, she started running. She completed not only her first 5K, she actually podiumed at an elite event. And so not only did she get her finisher medal, she got the glass mug you get when you podium in your age group. So like her very first 5K, she's podiuming, she got a glass mug. Her second 5K, she was disappointed because she got sixth place instead of fourth place. She didn't get that second mug. But it all, it's kind of the reason I like doing this podcast is everybody's motivated by something different. No one is the same. And for her, seeing me run doesn't relate because she has lupus and fibromyalgia. But once she discovered somebody else in the same routine could do it, she went from the mindset, oh, I can't do this because I have this, to I can do this despite the fact that I have this. And I think that's great. And I hope more people kind of see that stuff. And so we had her on for episode 7 called Living with Lupus, where she's talking about kind of that whole thing where she did her first 5K and all that stuff. And so real proud of her in that. And, it just goes to show you. Another gentleman I went to school with, I did an episode with, he ended up losing. I'm looking at a picture. He's literally standing with both legs in one leg of his shorts that he used to wear before losing all his weight. And just goes to show you, everybody finds motivation their own way, and hopefully we can find motivation. The last follow-up, the last question I always ask people, if someone were to come to you and say, Alyssa, how do I, what's your one tip for maybe me starting to go down the better physical fitness role, or where can I get started? What's the one tip you give people when they ask you? Which it's a hard question because it's, as you said before, it's not a one-size-fits-all thing.
Right. Yeah. So, kind of what we talked about before, you have to find something that is going to work for your particular lifestyle. Like I said, for me, it just happens to be working out from home because of my job. But the one thing that I tell people, and this phrase stuck with me kind of ever since I heard it, and it's very simple, but choose your hard. Meaning, yes, is it hard to go to the gym? Yes, is it hard to eat healthy? Yes, is it hard to, live this kind of better lifestyle? And the quick answer is yes, but ultimately when you do it long enough, it becomes second nature. But there's that hard versus the hard of feeling fatigued every day, gaining weight, not being happy with yourself, not being whatever it is that you don't like, or leading to health problems or whatever it might be. So, the choose your hard, and even just like remembering why you started. Like there's a couple points in my training where I have to take that step back to remember why I'm even doing this, because whether I'm frustrated or I'm injured or whatever it is, and you just have to kind of reflect back on like why you showed up in the first place and remember what motivated you to even kind of start.
And never underestimate the necessity of a recovery exercise.
Yes, I've really had to get that through my thick skull. I'm so bad with that. Like I race on Saturday and I know tomorrow I'm going to be so tempted to do a workout, but I really should just stretch and foam roll.
Yep, maybe do a nice slow recovery ride on your fitness bike or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I always, and it's so true, growing up, I was never prescribed antidepressants, but growing up, I was always depressed, angry, and all that. And it's as cheesy as it sounds, I always think of that line from Legally Blonde where she said, so and so didn't kill them. She works out, and working out makes endorphins. Endorphins make people happy, and it is true, and that's why people who work out are so annoying with the wanting you to work out, because they realize, hey, some of that stuff that you're dealing with, even if you're not medicated, just the bad moods, the rough outlook in life, a lot of that is easily changed just by simple movement, just getting out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
And so we want to thank everybody for hanging out for another episode of the Failed to Fail podcast. As always, if you'd like to support the show and what we do here at Digital 410 Network, please head over to d-410.com or failtofail.com and click on the Patreon link. You can sign up. It's only $1 a month. If you like us, if you kind of like us, you can sign up for the $3.50 month plan. Or if you like Winnie Cooper on the Wonder Years and you like us, you can sign up for the Long Arms Deep Pocket plan, which is $7.50 a month, and after month 2 you can choose any t-shirt from our merch shop and we will send it to you for free. But don't worry, you can also support the show without any financial contribution from you by simply sharing us with a like-minded friend. Say, hey, here's a podcast, check it out, you might like it. Or you can head over to youtube.com and sign up and subscribe at Digital 410. You can see my Savage races, you can see my Rugged Maniac races, you can see my World War II content, and if you're a hillbilly and like fishing, you can see all my kayak bass fishing. It's all there as well. But I want to thank you, Alyssa, for hanging out with us, and good luck with everything you do. And if you ever need to come on, promote anything, or let us know about anything going on, please do so. And let Aaron and crew know that I said hi and what's up. And it was an absolute pleasure, and I want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's going to wrap it up, and we will talk to you all soon.
This has been a Digital 410 production.